I never thought my daughter's purple crayon would be the thing that shattered our perfect family image. But sitting there at our Thanksgiving table, surrounded by turkey and tension, Emma's small hand pressed that folded piece of paper into mine, and everything changed. The past 3 months had been challenging since my younger sister Kelly moved in with us. She'd lost her job in Seattle and needed a place to stay while getting back on her feet. I'd been hesitant. Kelly had always been the wild child, the one who stirred up drama wherever she went. But James, my husband of 9 years, insisted we help. "She's family," he'd said, giving me that smile that still made my heart flutter after all these years. Besides, Emma loves her Aunt Kelly. He wasn't wrong about that. Kelly had always been the fun aunt, the one who brought exotic gifts from her travels and taught Emma silly songs. When she moved into our basement guest room, Emma was thrilled to have her favorite aunt around all the time. I tried to ignore the nagging feeling in my gut when I noticed Kelly putting more effort into her appearance than someone just getting back on her feet should. The designer clothes, the fresh highlights, the lingering perfume that seemed to float up from the basement every evening. Family deserves second chances, I'd remind myself whenever doubt crept in. Even when I noticed James spending more time working in his basement office. Even when Kelly started joining him for late-night drinks to discuss job opportunities. Even when the laughter from downstairs would fall silent the moment I approached. But children see things adults try to hide. They notice patterns we explain away. And they don't understand the need for secrets. I unfolded Emma's note under the table, careful to keep it hidden from the relatives gathered around our dining room. My daughter's purple crayon scrawl made my blood run cold. "Mommy, I saw Daddy kissing Aunt Kelly like in the movies when I went to get water last night. They didn't see me. Aunt Kelly was sitting on Daddy's desk. I'm scared to tell you, but Mrs. Peterson at school says secrets can make people sick." The green bean casserole I'd just eaten turned to lead in my stomach. Around me, the Thanksgiving chatter continued, my mother-in-law complaining about the turkey being dry, my father-in-law deep in discussion about football with James's brother, Kelly animatedly telling a story about her latest job interview. James sat at the head of the table, carving more turkey, looking every bit the perfect host and father. I glanced at Emma, who was pushing her peas around her plate, carefully avoiding my gaze. 7 years old and already carrying the weight of adult secrets. My baby girl shouldn't have to bear this burden. "Sarah?" James's voice cut through my thoughts. "You've been quiet. Everything okay?" I looked up to find him watching me with concern that seemed genuine. How many times had he practiced that look in the mirror? How many lies had he told with those same caring eyes? "Just tired," I managed to say, folding the note smaller and smaller under the table. Emma and I were up early making pies. "They're delicious pies," Kelly chimed in, raising her wine glass in my direction. "You'll have to teach me your crust secret sometime, sis." Sis, the word felt like poison now. I watched her take another sip of wine, noticed how her eyes flickered to James for just a fraction of a second too long. How had I missed these signs? The way she always seemed to position herself in his line of sight, the casual touches when passing dishes, the inside jokes I wasn't part of anymore. "Actually," I said, standing up suddenly, "Emma and I need to run to the store. We forgot cranberry sauce." "But we have cranberry sauce," my mother-in-law pointed out, gesturing to the untouched dish near James. "The whole berry kind," I improvised. "Emma only eats the whole berry kind, don't we, sweetie?" Emma looked confused but nodded, already sliding out of her chair. Smart girl. She knew something was happening. "I can go," Kelly offered, starting to stand. "You should stay and enjoy your dinner." "No." The word came out sharper than I intended. "No, it's our tradition. Emma and I always get the cranberry sauce together. Right, baby?" Emma nodded again, more confidently this time. She reached for my hand as we headed for the door. "We'll be right back," I called over my shoulder, not meeting anyone's eyes. I couldn't look at James, couldn't bear to see if he was watching Kelly watch us leave. In the car, Emma buckled herself into her booster seat while I sat gripping the steering wheel, trying to steady my breathing. "Mommy," her small voice came from the back seat. "Are you mad at me for telling?" I turned around quickly, reaching back to squeeze her knee. "No, baby. No, you did exactly the right thing. Mrs. Peterson is right, some secrets can make people sick. You were very brave to tell me." Are you going to tell Daddy I told? No, sweetheart. This is our secret for now. But I need you to tell me something else. When did you first see Daddy and Aunt Kelly being like that? Emma's face scrunched up in thought. 2 weeks ago. Maybe 3? I got thirsty and went to get water. The basement door was open a little bit. They were laughing and then they got quiet and then they were kissing like in princess movies. I didn't want to watch, so I went back to bed. My throat felt tight. Has it happened other times? She nodded slowly. Sometimes when you go to yoga class, I hear them laughing downstairs. Once I heard Aunt Kelly crying, but then she was laughing again. Each word was another crack in my heart. I started the car, not sure where we were going, just knowing we couldn't go back. Not yet. Not until I had a plan. Where are we really going? Emma asked as we pulled out of the driveway. We don't need cranberry sauce, do we? I caught her eye in the rearview mirror and managed a small smile. No, baby, we don't eat cranberry sauce. We're going to get ice cream and have a very important talk about some changes that might be happening soon. As we drove away from our house, I could see James standing at the living room window, phone in hand, probably wondering why I had left so abruptly. Let him wonder. Let him worry. Let him try to explain to our guests why his wife and daughter disappeared during Thanksgiving dinner. Because thanks to my brave little girl and her purple crayon, I finally had the truth. And tomorrow, while he nursed his holiday hangover, I'd be meeting with divorce lawyers, armed with a child's testimony that would ensure Kelly's next living arrangement wouldn't be quite so comfortable. But for now, I had ice cream to buy and a daughter to thank for saving her mother from living a lie. The next morning, while James nursed his hangover upstairs, I sat at our kitchen table, staring at Emma's purple crayoned note. The house was eerily quiet. Kelly had mysteriously decided to stay at a friend's house after our abrupt departure from Thanksgiving dinner. At least she had the decency to feel guilty, or maybe she was just scared. My phone buzzed for the 20th time since last night. Another message from James. Where did you and Emma sleep? Please come home. We need to talk. We'd stayed at my best friend Megan's house. After ice cream and tears, she'd welcomed us with open arms and a spare bedroom, no questions asked. Emma had fallen asleep clutching her stuffed unicorn, while I spent the night documenting everything my daughter had told me, dates and times meticulously recorded in my notes app. Mommy? Emma's voice pulled me from my thoughts. She stood in the doorway, still in her frozen pajamas, hair mussed from sleep. Is Daddy awake? He's upstairs, baby. Remember what we talked about? You don't have to see him right now if you don't want to. She nodded, climbing into my lap. Is he going to be mad that I told? No, sweetie. Daddy's actions are what caused this, not your words. I kissed the top of her head, breathing in her strawberry shampoo scent. You did nothing wrong. Heavy footsteps on the stairs announced James's arrival. Emma stiffened in my arms but didn't move. He looked terrible, unshaven, eyes bloodshot, still wearing yesterday's rumpled clothes. Good. Sarah, he started, then noticed Emma. His face softened. Princess, could you give Daddy and Mommy a minute to talk? No, I said firmly, holding Emma closer. Anything you need to say, you can say in front of her. She's already seen enough, hasn't she? The color drained from his face. What are you talking about? I pulled out Emma's note and slid it across the table, watching as he read it, his hands trembling slightly. Sarah, it's not what you think. Really? My voice was ice. So our 7-year-old daughter is lying about seeing you kiss my sister in your basement office. About hearing you together during my yoga classes. Emma buried her face in my shoulder, and I instantly regretted discussing this in front of her. Baby, why don't you go pack some clothes and toys? We're going to stay with Aunt Megan for a few days. She slid off my lap and hurried upstairs, leaving me alone with the man I thought I knew. It was a mistake, James said once Emma was gone. Kelly was upset about a job rejection. I was trying to comfort her. By sitting her on your desk and kissing her like in the movies, I quoted Emma's words back to him. How long, James? How long have you been comforting my sister in our basement? He sank into a chair, head in his hands. It just happened. Kelly was vulnerable, and things got out of hand. Things got out of hand multiple times, according to our daughter. I stood up, unable to sit still. Did you think about Emma when you were betraying our family? Did you think about how this would affect her? Of course I thought about Emma, He slammed his hand on the table. Why do you think I've been so torn up about this? Kelly and I, we didn't mean for it to happen. We've been trying to end it. End it? I laughed bitterly. Well, congratulations. It's ended. I've already called a lawyer. His head snapped up. A lawyer? Sarah, please, we can work this out. We can get counseling. The only counseling I'm interested in is for Emma to help her process the trauma of catching her father cheating with her aunt. I pulled out my phone, showing him the text from Kelly's friend confirming she'd stayed there. At least Kelly had the sense to disappear. Where did she tell you she was going? His silence was answer enough. She didn't tell you, did she? I shook my head. Classic Kelly. The moment things get complicated, she runs. Just like every other time in her life. And you threw away 9 years of marriage for that. I love you, he said weakly. No, you love the idea of me. The faithful wife who kept your home running while you played happy family man upstairs and carried on with my sister downstairs. I heard Emma's footsteps returning. I hope it was worth it. Emma appeared with her backpack and unicorn. I'm ready, Mommy. Sarah, please, James stood up. Don't take her away. We can fix this. Fix what, Daddy? Emma's voice was small but clear. You made Mommy cry. You kissed Aunt Kelly when you're only supposed to kiss Mommy. Mrs. Peterson says that's wrong. James flinched as if he'd been slapped. Out of the mouths of babes. Get yourself together, I told him, taking Emma's hand. My lawyer will contact you tomorrow. And James, when Kelly inevitably ghosts you like she's ghosted every other relationship in her life, don't come crying to me. We walked out of the house we'd made a home, leaving James standing in the kitchen with Emma's purple crayon truth lying crumpled on the table. In the car, Emma was quiet for a long time before asking, Mommy, is this like when Lily's parents got divorced at school? Something like that, baby. Lily says she has 2 houses now. Will I have 2 houses? I gripped the steering wheel tighter. We'll figure it all out, sweetheart. The important thing is that you'll always have my whole heart, no matter where we live. What about Daddy's heart? I glanced in the rearview mirror at my beautiful, perceptive daughter. Daddy's heart made some wrong choices, honey. But he still loves you very much. And Aunt Kelly? Will she still be my aunt? The innocent question brought fresh tears to my eyes. She'll always be your aunt, baby, but we won't be seeing her for a while. As we drove to Megan's house, I realized this was just the beginning of many difficult conversations. But looking at Emma's brave little face in the mirror, I knew we'd get through it together. My phone buzzed again. Another message from James. This time, I turned it off completely. We had lawyers for communication now. My daughter had given me the truth. The least I could do was show her how to handle it with dignity. 6 months later, I sat in a mediator's office watching James sign the final divorce papers. Kelly had resurfaced in Miami, posting beach selfies as if she hadn't helped destroy her sister's marriage. Classic Kelly, living her best life while leaving chaos in her wake. Just one more signature, Mrs. Carter, the mediator said, sliding the papers toward me. I paused, pen hovering over the line that would legally end 9 years of marriage. It's Ms. Mitchell now, I corrected, reverting to my maiden name. Actually, could we have a moment? Once the mediator left, I finally asked the question that had burned inside me for months. Was it worth it? Throwing away our family for her? James looked older now, stress lines etched around his eyes. She left 2 months ago. Hasn't returned my calls since. Shocking, I said dryly, but without the bitter edge that had dominated our earlier conversations. Time and therapy had dulled the sharpest edges of my anger. You know, Emma asked me yesterday if this was your princess story with the wrong princess. He winced. How is she? Better. Her therapist says she's processing everything well. She's angry at you, but she's learning that's okay. That she can be angry and still love you. She's wise beyond her years, he said softly. She is. She gets that from watching her mother handle betrayal with grace. I signed the papers with a flourish. You can thank her for that. Every time I wanted to burn your life down, I remembered she was watching how I handled this. The mediator returned, collecting the signed documents. It was done. 9 years of marriage ended with a few strokes of a pen. In the parking lot, James caught my arm. Sarah, Don't, I cut him off. Save your apologies for Emma. She's the one who needs them most. I've lost everything, he said quietly. No, you gave everything away. There's a difference. I checked my watch. Emma has her dance recital this afternoon. Don't be late. She's already had enough disappointments this year. I drove to pick up Emma from school, remembering that tearful Thanksgiving night 6 months ago. The ice cream shop where we'd sat while I explained that sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt the people they love. The way she danced, with chocolate smeared on her chin. But why would Daddy want to hurt us? Emma was waiting at the school gates, chatting with her friends. Her face lit up when she saw me, and she ran over, ballet bag bouncing against her hip. Ready for your big performance, sweetheart? Is Daddy coming? He promised he would. She nodded, suddenly serious. Mommy, I saw Aunt Kelly on your phone this morning. She sent you a message, didn't she? I should have known she'd notice. Emma didn't miss much these days. Yes, baby, she did. What did she want? To apologize. She's moving back to Seattle and wanted to know if we'd meet with her. Emma was quiet for a moment, processing this. Are we going to? That's up to you, sweetheart. We don't have to decide now. At the dance studio, Emma disappeared into the dressing room while I found seats in the auditorium. James arrived just before the show started, sitting a few rows behind me, per our custody agreement's parallel parenting guidelines. As I watched Emma twirl across the stage in her purple tutu, I thought about that crayon note that had changed everything. How my daughter's bravery had forced me to be brave too. How sometimes the worst moments in our lives lead us to our strongest selves. After the recital, Emma ran to me first, then to James. I watched them hug, saw the way she held on a little longer than usual. Healing takes time, but it happens. Dad, she said, pulling back. I've been thinking about Aunt Kelly's message to Mom. James shot me a surprised look. I shrugged. We agreed on honesty with Emma within reason. I think, Emma continued, that if she says sorry and really means it, maybe we could have ice cream with her. Not right away, but someday. Mrs. Peterson says forgiveness is good for your heart. James knelt to her level. When did you get so smart, princess? I learned from Mommy, she said simply. She showed me how to be brave and kind, even when people hurt you. I felt tears prick my eyes as James looked up at me with newfound respect. Later that night, as I tucked Emma into bed, she asked, Are you proud of me, Mommy, for my dance? I'm proud of you for everything, baby. Your dance, your kindness, your bravery. Especially your bravery. She snuggled deeper under her covers. I'm proud of you too, Mommy, for being brave when Daddy and Aunt Kelly were wrong. I kissed her forehead, breathing in the familiar scent of strawberry shampoo mixed with stage makeup. Get some sleep, my brave girl. Tomorrow's a new day. As I left her room, I saw the framed note on her dresser. That purple crayon truth that had started it all. Emma had asked to keep it, saying it reminded her that telling the truth, even when it's hard, is always right. Sometimes the biggest changes in our lives come from the smallest actions. A child's crayon, a folded note, a moment of courage at a Thanksgiving dinner. Emma's bravery hadn't just saved me from living a lie. It had taught us both that real love, real family is built on truth, even when that truth hurts. And sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying those who hurt you. It's showing your daughter how to rise above the pain with grace, forgiveness, and purple tutus.